Strap in, Buffy fans, because I just watched Season 4, Episode 6, Wild at Heart, as well as Angel Season 1, Episode 4, Sense and Sensibility. But I'm really here to talk about what went down during the Buffy episode. Much to say, lots of notes. Let us get into it. For those of you who have been following my journey, you know that I am a big fan of Oz. Yes. And I'm an even bigger fan of Willow and Oz. So when I tell you this episode had me feeling some type of way, that is not an exaggeration. I'm gonna go from my notes here. What was that? What did I watch? What did they do to my Willow and Oz? That was so uncomfortable for so many reasons. Wow, I feel like I should have known we can't have nice things like in the long term. I thought for sure they were just gonna kill off Oz pretty early on. They haven't done that yet. Somehow, a worse thing has entered the villa, which is they're gonna break them up in the most emotionally devastating way possible. Yeah. Yeah! Oh, yay me! I'm so lucky! Looking at my notes here, I really was, towards the beginning of this episode, trying to give Oz the benefit of the doubt. I was like, okay, there is weird awkwardness between Oz and Veruca, but, like, it's not gonna mean anything. It's gonna be okay. Like, I thought, like, maybe something's up with her that he can sense, but it's not the way, like, maybe this whole, like, there's something going on between them is a red herring. No. No, it wasn't. My first red flag should have been them showing Oz and Willow in bed in the morning, being all cutesy together. They were showing that, like they were really focusing on that, and I was like, so something's about to happen. Because when we start an episode with a couple super happy, you can almost guarantee that by the end of the episode, they're not going to be super happy. That's just the way of television writing, right? Real quick sidebar. We did get more werewolf suits in this episode, which, as you all know, is my favorite thing about the show. The werewolves on the show make me cry, laugh. Like, it has, like, a triggering response to me where the second I see someone in a werewolf costume on the show, I start, like, snort laughing. Like, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. And it gets worse. Like, it somehow keeps getting worse. They genuinely just look like human beings who are, like, zipped up into, like, a dog suit and are just running around on all fours. It's the funniest thing ever. And that's the only funny thing about this episode, let me tell you. Also, side note about some other characters before we get into the Oz and Willow of it all. Giles looking absolutely like a snack in his cardigans. Wow. I don't know what they're doing to him this season, but I like it and I support it. Also, Xander suggesting communication as a means to fix a problem. What timeline have I entered right now? Where am I? Where I'm watching an episode where Xander is right and Oz is wrong? Please explain that to me. Veruca reminds me of the love child of Meg from Supernatural and Faith from Buffy. That's what she's giving. Negative. So yeah, Oz cheating on Willow, making out with Veruca, and Willow walking in on them naked in the morning. Let's just address that. Yeah. So I was worried that that's where it was going, and I was hoping I wasn't seeing what I was seeing. Unfortunately, that is what happened. Yes, I'm understanding that this is sort of like a reverse parallel to what Oz walked in on with Xander and Willow not too long ago when they were caught together. So this is not the first time this has happened with this couple, but I hate this sort of notion that, like, Willow feels like this is him getting back at her when I don't think at all that's what's happening. There is this extra element, which, again, I'm not trying to make excuses for Oz, but, like, he is a werewolf. That is a particular type of mythical creature. I guess not so mythical in this sense. And he could sense something on her, and there is some sort of, like, animalistic draw between the two of them. Now, I think Veruca is obviously overplaying that for her own gain. Homewrecker. Sorry, I'm going to call her what she is, a homewrecker. And I thought it was just horrifying. I thought the whole sequence was horrifying. Like, seeing Willow cry was one of the saddest things I've seen in this show. Like, tears were in my eyes. I can't watch her cry. It's so sad. Like, I was like, this is devastating as someone, like, they're like my OTP more than, you know, Buffy and like her pairings. Like, the two of them are like it for me. And I was so upset, you guys. And then Willow goes and tries to cast a spell, which I totally understand. I'm so glad she didn't. I was really worried there for a second because remember in my last video, I was like, I'm worried she's going to use magic for bad. And like, that's right around the corner. And she was so close to doing it. And I'm so glad she didn't. Oh my God. I did write in all caps, crying laughing over the Oz and Veruca werewolf fight the effects were sending me. Like, thank God that took me out of it for a minute because I was really upset. And then they started getting goofy with it again. I was like, okay, this is still silly goofy at the end of the day. We're going to be all right. But yeah, in all caps, I wrote in my notes here, fuck my life. Oz left and they both were crying. Quote, don't you love me? My whole life I've never loved anything else. Listen to me right now. I need to die. I was literally sat there with like my hand over my mouth, like could not believe what I was seeing. Tragic breakup scene. Also knowing that like they still love each other so much, but this is like this tragic, and then like they have now both cheated on each other, and now Oz doesn't feel like he's a safe person to be around and is removing himself from the equation. I'm like, did Seth Green have to go? Was he like trying to leave the show? Can someone tell me the lore on that? Because that makes me really upset, and I hope this is not the last we see of Oz. At the time of recording this video, I haven't seen past this episode of Buffy, and I'm really worried this is like the end. Please tell me it's not the end. No. Moving on a little bit, let's talk about the episode of Angel, which was right after Sense and Sensibility, written by Tim Minear. Now, if you follow me for other fandoms, you know I am a big fan of 911. The showrunner of that show is Tim Minear. Obviously, I knew that he was connected to Angel. Did not realize that he was like a big part of Angel until very recently. So when I saw the written by Tim Minear credit come up, I screamed. I did. I was like, oh my God, he wrote this episode. So there's that. I think Kate is an absolute badass. Like, this is a really Criminal Mindsy sort of vibe, with all the investigating. I like it. And I said, oh, she's a police Nepo baby, which, okay, that's fine. LA runs on Nepo babies. That makes sense for her. Highlight of this episode was Angel dressed in that print shirt and the hat and that god-awful accent. Highlight for me. He is funny. Like, Angel is so much funnier in his show Angel than he was in Buffy, and I appreciate that. The sensitivity training, like the talking stick stuff was so like late 90s, early 2000s, so funny. And like I was saying, the fights that broke out with all the therapy speak and like the ex-cops, I just thought that whole thing was quite funny. Everyone was having a mental breakdown, and that is relatable. I loved when Angel became like sensitized. I thought that was funny. Again, like it's a bit of like old-fashioned humor, but I'm like old enough where I think it's funny still. I don't know if this kind of episode would land at all with like Gen Z or younger, but I'm just millennial enough to think this is funny. Quote, I am feeling some serious negative energy from this room. Killed me. And then my favorite quote of Angel so far, blows every other thing he's ever said out of the water, was, you know, Anthony, you can be a rainbow, not a painbow. And he does like a little like air quote thing. Me and my bestie Patricia were scream laughing. We had to fucking pause the show because tears were coming out of our eyes. When he goes, painbow, who told him to deliver that line that way? That was the funniest shit ever. Tim Minear is a funny writer, and I'm glad that came through in this episode. I could feel the Tim Minear bleeding through this episode. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great time. It was a good little like palate cleanser after the Buffy episode that I witnessed. Yeah. So hopefully I get to watch some more episodes this week and record some more videos for you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.